Hello, thank you for joining the channel today. In this video, we want to look at the analysis, the summary and the analysis of the play, The Marriage of Anansewa by Efua T. Sutherland. This is going to be a very comprehensive analysis. In the course of this video, we shall be looking at the background to the play, the setting of the play, the plot summary of the play, then act-by-act summary of the play, the themes of the play. Also, we are going to delve into the characterization, then the dramatic techniques used in the play, and some major events in the play. Let's begin from the background to the play. Background to the play. The Marriage of Anansewa is a comic play written by Ghanaian playwright Efua T. Sutherland. The play reflects important social realities within Ghanaian society, particularly in the period following independence, when traditional African culture was increasingly interacting with modern influences. The work draws inspiration from the well-known Ananse folktales in the Ghanaian culture. In these folktales, Ananse is usually portrayed as a clever spider character who survives difficult situations through intelligence, cunning, and trickery. Efua T. Sutherland adapts this traditional character into a dramatic human figure called Judge Kweku Ananse. Through this character, the playwright combines folklore, satire, and social commentary. The play also represents a theatrical form known as Anansegoro, which developed from the traditional storytelling practice called Anansesem. In this tradition, stories about Ananse are performed through drama, music, dance, and audience participation. The storyteller plays an important role in guiding the audience through the narrative, while actors dramatize the event. The word Ananse represents the spider, while we have the word Anansegoro. Anansegoro means the story of the spider. I just hope I'm pronouncing these Ghanaian words well. My Ghanaian viewers, please pardon me if I do not pronounce them correctly. So, in the traditional Akan folktale, when we say Anansegoro, we are talking about the story of Ananse. And do not forget, Ananse means the spider. So, when we say Anansegoro means the story of Ananse, it actually means the story of the spider. While the third one, Anansesem, is the modern adaptation, the modern form of Anansegoro. Anansegoro is based on the old storytelling method, while Anansesem is the modern written and acted form of the same or related story, which usually involve Ananse. Let's move to the setting of the play. The events of the play take place in post-colonial Ghana, a period when traditional customs still played an important role in everyday life, but were increasingly influenced by modern education and social change. Most of the dramatic action occurs in the house of Ananse. At the beginning of the play, the house is described as a very modest dwelling containing only a small table and a chair. The simplicity of the house reflects Ananse's poverty and the difficult financial condition of his household. Although as the story progresses, the appearance of the house changes significantly due to the gifts and money sent by the chiefs who hope to marry Anansewa. Apart from Ananse's home, references are made to other locations such as the post office where letters are sent to the chiefs, the various communities ruled by the chiefs, and the hometown of Aya and Ekua known as Nanka. However, these locations are not physically represented on stage. They exist mainly through dialogue and narration. Let's move to the plot summary of the play. The story revolves around Judge Kweku Ananse, a poor widower who lives with his daughter, Anansewa. He struggles financially and finds it difficult to meet his obligations, including the payment of his daughter's school fees. Ananse begins to consider how he might improve his economic situation. Eventually, he devises a clever but risky plan that involves using his daughter's beauty and marriage prospects to attract wealthy suitors. He arranges for photographs of Anansewa, that is his daughter, to be taken in several attractive poses. With these photographs, he travels across the country and approaches 4 wealthy chiefs. These chiefs are the chief of Sapasi, Togbekulu of Akate, the chief of the mines, and a powerful ruler known as Chief Who is Chief. Ananse secretly promises each of the chiefs that his daughter will become their bride. None of the chiefs knows that there are other competitors. After returning home, Ananse instructs his daughter to type letters to the chiefs, strengthening the impression that she is interested in marrying them. Let me explain here that the letters are not written in a straightforward language. Because of the cunning and tricky nature of Ananse, even his daughter Anansewa, at the point where she is typing the letters, she does not know that the letters are all about her. She does not know that she is the object of interest spoken about in those letters. Soon afterwards, the chiefs begin to send money and gifts to Ananse as part of the preliminary marriage arrangements. With this unexpected wealth, Ananse's financial condition improves dramatically. He repairs his house, dresses in fine clothes, and even makes generous offerings in church. However, his scheme begins to create serious complications when each of the chiefs announces his intention to come and perform the head drink ceremony. According to tradition, only one suitor can place the head drink and officially claim the bride. If the chiefs were to meet one another and know that 4 of them are suitors for Anansewa, Ananse's deception would be exposed. Faced with this crisis, Ananse quickly invents another plan. He persuades Anansewa to pretend that she has died suddenly. The fake death will allow him to observe the reactions of the chiefs and determine which of them truly cares for his daughter. To make his plan successful, Ananse cunningly sends his mother Aya and his aunt Efua back to their hometown so that they will not interfere. He also receives assistance from Christy, a fashionable woman who secretly hopes to become Ananse's wife. The news of Anansewa's death reaches the chiefs, and each of them send their messengers for condolence visits and funeral gifts. The responses of the chiefs vary, but the most impressive gesture comes from Chief Who is Chief. Although the marriage had not yet been finalized, he accepts full responsibility of the funeral arrangements and sent numerous valuable gifts. This act convinces Ananse that Chief Who is Chief genuinely cares for his daughter. Satisfied with this outcome, Ananse uses a streak to bring Anansewa back to life, although she is never dead. Preparations are then made for her marriage to the chief. Through his cunning scheme, Ananse succeeds in achieving 2 objectives. He secures a wealthy and apparently devoted husband for his daughter, while also improving his own financial situation. So that is the plot summary of the play. Let's move to the act-by-act summary. Act 1. The first act introduces the audience to the storyteller, the players, and the satirical environment of the play. The storyteller begins by explaining that the audience will hear a story about the family of Ananse. Through narration and dialogue, the audience is gradually introduced to the main characters. At this stage, Ananse is portrayed as a poor man struggling with financial difficulties. His house is leaking and poorly furnished, and he worries about how to pay his daughter's school fees Ananse then reveals his plan to improve their situation. He has arranged a photographic session for Anansewa and intends to use the photographs to attract wealthy men who might want to marry her. He travels to various parts of the country to present the photographs to influential chiefs. Meanwhile, Anansewa continues her studies at the secretarial school. She initially has little knowledge of her father's scheme. Eventually, she discovers that letters are being sent to several chiefs concerning her marriage. The letters has been typed by Anansewa herself without knowing she is the object of interest. Although she disagrees with the idea of being offered in marriage to elderly men, her father persuades her to cooperate. The act ends with the first sign that Ananse's plan is beginning to succeed. Let's go to the summary of Act 2. In the second act, Ananse begins to enjoy the benefit of his schemes. The chiefs who receives Anansewa's photographs respond positively and begin sending gifts and money. These gifts include cash and other valuable items meant to demonstrate the chief's interest in marrying Anansewa. As a result, Ananse is able to pay his daughter's school fees and improve the condition of his house. Workers such as carpenters, painters, and masons are hired to renovate the building. Ananse's appearance also changes as he begins to dress in expensive clothing. However, the situation becomes more complicated when messages arrive from the chiefs announcing their intention to visit Ananse's house to perform the head drink ceremony almost at the same period. Since all the four chiefs plan to come within a short period, Ananse realizes that his deception may soon be discovered. This development creates tension and prepares the audience for the next phase in the story. Let's go to the summary of Act 3. In Act 3, Ananse tries to find a solution to the problem created by the chief's planned visits. At this stage, Christy becomes an important character in the story. Christy is a fashionable woman who runs the Institute of Prospective Brides, where Anansewa received training. She has a personal interest in Ananse and hopes that their relationship may eventually lead to marriage. Ananse confides in Christy about his difficulties and asks for help in executing a new plan. It is decided that Anansewa will pretend to be dead. This strategy will prevent the chiefs from performing the marriage ceremony and will also allow Ananse to observe their reactions. In order to carry out the plan without interference, Ananse sent his mother, Aya, and his aunt, Efua, back to their hometown, Nanka. With the assistance of Christy, preparations are made for the fake funeral. Act 4. The final act presents the climax and resolution of the play. The messengers of the chiefs arrive one after another. Each messenger expresses sympathy and presents gifts on behalf of his chief. These gifts demonstrate the chief's respect for the family and their disappointment at the unfortunate situation. Eventually, the messengers of Chief Who is Chief arrive. Their message states that although the marriage ceremony had not been completed, the chief accepts responsibility for the funeral of Anansewa. They bring valuable gifts to support the burial arrangement. I must explain here that Chief Who is Chief demonstrates the greatest love for Anansewa. He takes full responsibility of Anansewa's funeral as if Anansewa has already become his wife. His messengers, Chief Who is Chief messengers, bring so many things, including the coffin in which Anansewa will be buried. With this, Ananse is convinced that Chief Who is Chief has the greatest love for Anansewa. This generous response convinces Ananse that Chief Who is Chief truly cares about his daughter. At this moment, Ananse announces that Anansewa has miraculously revived. The play concludes with the preparation for the marriage between Anansewa and chief who is chief. So here we are. That is the act-by-act summary of the play. Let's quickly go to the themes of the play. The first theme is the theme of poverty and ambition. The theme of poverty and ambition. One of the most prominent themes in the play is the struggle to overcome poverty. At the beginning of the story, Ananse lives in a poor and uncomfortable environment. His inability to pay his daughter's school fees reflects the economic challenges he faces. Motivated by the desire to improve his living conditions, Ananse develops a daring plan that eventually brings him wealth and social recognition. His action demonstrates how poverty can push individuals to adopt unconventional or morally questionable strategies in order to survive. The second is the theme of wit and cunning. Wit and cunning. Wit means intelligence, being very clever. That's the meaning of wit. Ananse's intelligence and resourcefulness form another important theme. Like the spider in the Ghanaian folklore, it relies on cleverness rather than physical strength. Even when his schemes create problems, he quickly invents new strategies to escape danger. The play celebrates the value of intelligence while also warning about the risks of excessive trickery. The next theme is the theme of love and materialism. Before we begin to explain the theme of love and materialism, we must note that love and materialism are totally different things. But then, in this story, it might be difficult for us to separate the two. In fact, it is materialism that brings about love. Ananse's first intention is materialism, is for the sake of money. But after a while, love begins to come in. Before the end of the play, we've come to realize that Anansewa is becoming to love chief who is chief. So it might be difficult for us to separate the two. When we talk about the theme of love, we talk about materialism because it is materialism that brings about the love. And when we talk about the theme of materialism, we're also going to talk about the theme of love because materialism actually ended in love in this story. The relationship between genuine affection and financial interest is also explored. At first, Ananse's plan appears to treat marriage as a business transaction. The chiefs send gifts and money in order to secure Anansewa as a bride. However, the story ultimately suggests that true love can exist alongside material considerations. Chief who is chief demonstrates genuine concern for Anansewa when he accepts responsibility for her funeral. The next theme is the theme of matchmaking. Matchmaking means to set up a date or marriage between two people. Of course, obviously, Ananse sets up a marriage between Anansewa and the four chiefs. That is where the theme of matchmaking comes to play. The play examines the role of third parties in arranging marriages. In traditional societies, elders often assist young people in finding suitable partners. In this case, Ananse acts as a matchmaker for his daughter, although his motives are partly selfish. The story suggests that matchmaking can sometimes produce positive results when guided by wisdom and careful observation. The last theme here is African traditions. African traditions. The play provides insight into important cultural practices associated with marriage. Rituals such as the head drink ceremony and the outdooring ceremony emphasize the communal nature of marriage in African society. Let's move to the analysis of the characters. The first and the main character that we are going to talk about is Ananse. Judge Kweku Ananse is the central character of the play. He is the main character. He is a widower who struggles to provide for his family. Despite his poverty, he possesses remarkable intelligence and creativity. Ananse's personality is defined by his cunning nature. He constantly devises complex schemes to achieve his goals. Although some of his actions appear dishonest, He believes that his plans will ultimately benefit both himself and his daughter. The second character is Anansewa. Anansewa is the daughter of Ananse and the heroine of the play. She is a young and educated woman who studies secretarial work. She initially resists her father's attempt to arrange a marriage without her consent. However, she eventually agrees to cooperate with his plans. Her obedience reflects the respect expected of children in traditional families. Let's go to the next character, who is Aya. Aya is the mother of Ananse and the grandmother of Anansewa. She represents the wisdom and authority of the older generation. Her presence is particularly important during the cultural ceremonies and family discussions. Then let's talk about Efua. Efua is Aya's sister and the grand aunt of Anansewa. She plays a supportive role in family affairs and participates in traditional rituals, usually during the adoring ceremony. Efua was very active during the adoring ceremony. Then let's move to Christy. Christy is a modern and fashionable woman who assists Ananse in executing his schemes. She manages the Institute for Prospective Brides and helps prepare Anansewa for marriage. Her affection for Ananse influences her willingness to support his plans. Yes, Christy was willing to do anything Ananse wants her to do because of the love and the soft spot she has for Ananse. She hopes that one day she will be Mrs. Ananse. In fact, she addresses Ananse differently. While others call him Ananse, she addresses Ananse by his first name. That is Georgie or George sometimes. She frequently calls Ananse Georgie or George. And that is a way to endear herself with Ananse. Let's go to some of the dramatic techniques used in the play. The first one is the storytelling technique. The play uses a narrator known as the storyteller who guides the audience through the event. This technique reflects the oral storytelling tradition of the African culture. The second technique is the use of music and dance. Songs, drumming, and dancing occur throughout the play. These performances create an energetic atmosphere and reinforce the cultural setting. The next one is the spider's web symbolism. The visual representation of a spider's web appears on stage whenever Ananse begins to weave a new scheme. This symbol reflects its connection to the spider figure of folklore. The next technique is audience participation. The structure of the play encourages the audience to become involved through clapping, singing, and responding to the storyteller. But then before we go, let's look at some of the major events in the play. There are different significant events in the play. These events shape the development of the story. The first one is Ananse arranges for photographs for his daughter and sends them to wealthy chiefs. Another significant event is when Anansewa types letters to the chiefs, strengthening their belief that she will marry them. The chiefs begin sending money and gifts to Ananse. In fact, this particular event marks the turning point in Ananse's life, when the chiefs begin to send money and gifts to Ananse. Another significant event in the story is when Ananse uses the money to pay his daughter's school fees and renovate his house. Messages arrive from the chiefs announcing their intention to perform the head drink ceremony almost at the same time. Ananse persuades Anansewa to pretend that she has died. That's another significant event in the story. Christy assists in organizing the fake funeral. In fact, Christy was very instrumental in this particular scheme in faking Anansewa's death. Messengers from chiefs arrive with condolence gifts. Chief with chief accepts responsibility for Anansewa's funeral. Ananse reveals that Anansewa is alive and approves a marriage to chief who is chief. The play ends with preparations for the wedding. So this is the analysis of with the play. I believe if you have read a book and go through this analysis, you will have deeper understanding of the whole of the play, and this will assist you when attending to questions on this particular play. Thank you for being here. Do well to subscribe to the channel, leave a nice comment on this video, give this video a thumbs up, and always come back to watch more videos on this channel. Thank you. Until I come your way again, have a nice one. Bye-bye.